Wonderful. All right, so we may have, Betsy, were you able to join us? Oh, maybe not. So, oh, there she is. Hey, Betsy.
Hey, good afternoon. Sorry, my go-to meeting opened in the browser and I couldn't force it to cooperate.
Ah. Hey, y'all. Betsy's going to be joining our call for just the first half today. I've been training underneath Betsy, so Allison, you didn't get my spiel last time. I am learning the WebLink product and just assisting you guys as much as possible along the way, but Betsy's been kind of the all of the work behind the scenes helping me along the way. So she's joining just in case you guys have any questions that I can't answer, just to get you back a response a little bit faster, just to be an awesome resource for us. Her knowledge is so vast. So just to let you guys know, she'll be hanging out on the call with us for about the first half, and we'll probably hear her leave. Before we get started in the training, and Allison, so glad we finally get to speak, what questions do you guys have before we kind of jump in and I start pointing out some of the differences between what you'll be working in today and what you've been working with previously?
I don't have any questions. I did take the 101 class, and it was, it's very similar to what we're doing now, so.
That's exactly right. Yeah, they're very similar.
Things that I guess we're getting that we don't have now, but it seems pretty similar.
Awesome. So I can really focus my time today on pointing out what those differences are. Similarly, there's not a ton of differences, but there are some items that I can definitely review with you guys. Outside of that, did I hear that everybody had a chance to watch that 101 video?
I did, and Chris did, and Chris isn't here at all right now.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome. Yeah, very intuitive. You guys, working in this product is really fun. It's like instantly gratifying. I'm like, I've been obviously working a lot in it and learning everything I can. I'm like, I'm a web designer. It's a lot of fun. So awesome. And kind of just before I jump in, any specific things that you had questions on? I want to make sure that we can use Betsy as a resource if we need to, if there are any specific questions that came from anything you saw in that training video.
No, I didn't have any specific questions.
Okay, awesome. One other question. I did send for one of the sites, so you guys will be receiving you will have 3 different sites. One of them, Betsy and I did set up, and you should have received an email asking you to create a password so you can gain admin access to the site and start editing. Did you receive that email by chance?
When did you send that? I didn't.
It was earlier today, and Allison, I set you up in there.
Okay, the only email I got was the reminder, I think.
Okay, I'll go back through and just make sure that we did that correctly. I'll be doing it for the other 2 sites, going through the same process. And then I'll just confirm with you before I head out for today. You know, I'll just let you know that you should have received an email, and to let me know if you didn't. Maybe check your spam and junk after we get off the call today. I wouldn't imagine that they would wind up in there, but you know, that's always a possibility.
That was going to be my recommendation, since it is automated coming from the system. Sometimes it gets caught up there. And if it still doesn't come through Allison, we can send it to you like manually with the username and password, like paste it in. But obviously that's significantly less secure. Try searching in your spam and your junk either for member clicks or for Weebly. And if neither of those things come up, then we'll send it to you manually. But that's where I would start.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Betsy. So we do have all 3 of the initial designs for your 3 sites that have been started. And you guys, if you're looking at my screen, I am sharing the screen with you all. So once again, you'll receive 3 different logins for each of those 3 different sites. We are still waiting for our designers to place your logo and customize these sites to your colors. However, like we mentioned previously, we want you to get the site in your hands as quickly as possible, so you can go ahead and get in here and start playing and adding all of the text to your site, building this out and customizing it the way you want it to look. So you may see some things that you're like, hey, I don't like the colors here. Just give us a chance to add your logos and customize your colors, and I'll let you know when those have been completed. And then if there are any additional edits that need to be made, of course, just let us know. But just kind of letting you know that we're still in progress. Of course, there's not, your logo's not up here in the top left-hand corner yet, but you will see those edits, those changes being made once the design is complete. This is just the front end of your website. So this is as if I was a member coming and visiting your website. One thing I'll go ahead and point out is the URL. You will notice it's the weblinkproduction.com URL. So of course, any changes that you make to the site, they're not going to be live, right? These are all kind of sitting on a secret URL that nobody else will be able to see, of course, unless you gave them the direct link. But otherwise, it's all sitting on the back end, kind of hidden away. So any changes you make, feel free to have fun, play around, try these different components. Yeah, and just have fun with it. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate over to our editor. So similar to what you guys have been working in previously, just pointing out a couple of changes. Some of these items are going to be pulling from your database. I'll be pointing those items out to you. One of the first things I'm going to mention is we have these different banner ads, or we have a new banner ad that's available to you. So previously you would have had this banner ad, but now you actually have more flexibility with what you can do with it. So if you hover over the banner ad, and same thing with any item within the website, you're going to notice a blue, like a light blue box appear around the item. That's just letting you know that you can edit something about this item. So if I'm hovering over the banner ad, we can actually select the image and move it within to any other area on the site that we may want to use this. If you guys did not want to use this banner ad, you can also click the X in the top right-hand corner when I'm hovering over it. That light blue line is now going to become red, and we can get rid of it completely. Something that I thought was just the bee's knees was if I'm hovering under the banner ad, there's actually a smaller kind of light blue box that you'll see here. One of these items is going to be for like a desktop version of viewing your site, whereas the other would be for a narrow mobile version of your site. So if I'm hovering over in that kind of light blue box, we'll actually be able to look at the custom HTML that we've already placed here for you. And we can see that this is for the medium rectangle mobile version. So this is something kind of fun and new to you guys that you wouldn't have had the ability to use previously. Similarly, we have our upcoming events. This is another area where we've already placed the HTML in. So while you don't see anything today, while you don't see anything on the back end or on the admin view in the editor, if I navigated back to the member view of your site, you'll notice we have that same upcoming events area, but we're actually seeing those events from your calendar populated in from the database portion of your site.
Adrian.
Yes, ma'am.
That is it's Allison. That is the community calendar, though. The upcoming events, we would only want chamber events, just the chamber calendar.
Perfect. And I imagine, Betsy, that's easy enough for us to make an edit for?
It absolutely is. Make a note of it, Adrian, and the web developer can customize their scroller to only pull certain events, and I might even be able to do it, but I don't want to experiment on the phone.
Yeah,
yes,
no
it
worries.
is absolutely possible. No problem. And you want just your organization events. You want to hide community events from this, right?
We only want ours up there.
No problem.
Awesome. Yeah, we can get them to handle that for us. I'm going to go ahead and jump back to the editor for another moment. And of course, any of these images that you're seeing, any of these text items that you're seeing, once again, if you see that light blue box surrounding, that means you can change or edit something about it. I don't want to waste y'all's time. If you already know and feel comfortable on how to use these editors, then definitely go for it. And if you run into any questions as you're working in the site and you're starting to load content, we can just have an additional call if we need to.
Okay.
As we continue to scroll down, we have some additional items that you guys will have the ability to edit and add, change text to. There is one item that I'm wanting to kind of get to down here, and that's our thanks to our sponsors. This is also new to you guys, just completely. So I saw on your existing site, and I know we talked briefly about it on our previous call, you have all the sponsor logos that are kind of remaining static on your site. I know that you all mentioned that you wanted them to remain static. I went ahead and had my designers just add this thanks to our sponsors. It can be that slideshow for those logos if you wish to use the slideshow component. Of course, if you don't want to, same thing, right? You can just hover over that red X and select delete. So I figured it'd be easier for you guys to delete than try to add something in yourself. So this is also something that you all will have the opportunity to use that will be new to you from what you were using previously.
Wait, if we did a slideshow, are the logos like clickable on a slideshow, or they're not?
I think you can make them clickable to any external link. Is that correct, Betsy?
Yep, any internal or external link. If you wanted them to show up on your referral report, you could even link them to those profiles directory listings.
Oh, okay.
All right, any other questions on that? Does that make sense? Okay, wonderful. And then similarly with the get our latest news or welcome our newest members, both of these items also already have the custom HTML added into these areas. So I'll navigate back to the member view of your website to show you what this will look like as it populates. Those newest members is going to be bringing in any members that have joined within the last 45 days, and that is the assigned to date, I believe, or the assigned date is what it was. So that means any new member that is creating a brand new profile within your database will be pulled into this area. If it's somebody that was a prospect previously and is becoming a member, you would have to manually add that date in order for them to populate into the newest members area. All right. So all of this seems pretty straightforward. Any questions on the homepage that we can continue to review, guys, or do you feel really comfortable with this?
Nothing so far, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and navigate back. I did kind of need to back up for a moment. So the banner that we have in this area, if you wanted to add an image, I do want to go ahead and give you the size on this. It's 728 by 90 for the desktop view or for the widescreen view. And I can provide this to you in an email if you need these sizes. And then the area that will hold the image for a narrow view or a phone, like a mobile ad, would be 300 by 250. So those are two sizes that you guys will probably need if you want to utilize these areas. Everything else in here, we can just kind of hover over and change anything about it, whether it's the text within those buttons, the button style, we have the ability to edit. The flexibility in here, I was just really impressed by what link we want this to go to, and then any spacing. So aside from looking at this front page of your website, I also wanted to go ahead and show you guys, and this may be a review for you all, but the Pages tab along the top of the page here. This Pages tab is going to show you any of the pages that you have, kind of like a outline of your menu structure. We've gone ahead and added some default menu items in here to get you started, to help get the creative juices flowing. You can change around any of these menu items just by clicking and dragging if you wanted to change that menu structure. Something else that I wanted to go ahead and mention, anything that has an arrow next to it means that this is pulling from your database. In comparison to the, and I always mess this up, the dog tag. The dog tag, I think, is what I'm going to call it. This is actually editable, an editable page. So you actually can come in here and edit the verbiage on this page. I actually edited the image in here when I was playing a little bit earlier. So any of the images that you want to change on your pages, you would just click on the image itself, select Edit Background, and this is going to allow you to change this to an image. Something that I think is really, really fun is if we wanted to change this image, we could select Replace. Initially, this is going to allow us to, Hey, there, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right, initially this is going to allow you to choose an image from your computer. If we select the X in the top right-hand corner of this pop-up, it's going to give us a small kind of image library that you can choose an image from. I love this feature. I think this is really, really neat. In addition to using any of these images, whoops, well, where'd I go? Let me try that again. So selecting Edit Background again, we can also choose a color. So if you guys have any specific colors, you can even add in a hex value if you have a specific color you're wanting to change this to. We can also select a gradient. How fun is this? So you can, this is something I was doing earlier. You actually have the option to choose 2 different gradient colors or 2 different colors to make this gradient. And then lastly, what I had done is you can select a video. So same, you can also upload your own video, or you can select something from our video gallery. So if we wanted to make this beach, I can save this change. I might want to go ahead and publish this. Now this is going to provide us a new link that will allow us to see this update.
Do you know what the dimensions on the background images need to be?
I believe those need to be 2,000 by, you know what? Hold on, don't tell me, Betsy. I can do it. It's not 2,000 by 1,000. That seems to be too big. All right, you're going to have to tell me.
Well, that's the minimum that I recommend. So because of the responsiveness features of the site, we recommend that those images be at least 2,000 pixels wide by 1,000 pixels tall, so that if somebody's viewing it on kind of the largest widescreen monitors that are common, it looks beautiful and displays unpixelated. But obviously you can have a lot of control over the size and shape of that header area, depending on the size of the display that the visitor's using, as well as the settings within the editor itself. So we encourage you to start with an image that's 2,000 wide by 1,000 tall, keeping in mind that the editor is going to take care of the scaling to make it appear beautifully regardless of the display size.
Okay.
So I was there. I just didn't have the rest of it.
You were totally
awesome. All right, and then of course changing any of the text in our editors is just as simple as selecting or clicking inside of that text box. We can begin typing directly in here. We have a lot of different options, from changing the font color. We can make links within our verbiage, create bullets, a lot of different options we have here. One thing that I do want to mention that I know for my clients previously would have tripped them up a little bit. When I encourage you to copy and paste verbiage or text from your previous website into these editors. But one thing I'll mention is when we right click, there is an option, and I believe it's paste and match style. Is that right? So basically we don't just want to paste, because what that'll do is sometimes bring over some messy HTML sitting on the back end of that verbiage. We want to make sure we're stripping that HTML out. We want to make sure we have clean, unformatted text when we're bringing it over. So that's one thing that I wanted to go ahead and mention here.
One thing I want to say, Adrian,
yes.
They probably use a PC, and so it's called paste as plain text, but I'm confident it's the same thing on your Mac as paste and match style.
Gotcha. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Perfect. Awesome. All right. And I know you guys feel comfortable working within the internal pages of your website. Any specific questions on working with any of these items in here?
I don't think so.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to go back to that Pages tab at the top of our screen again, and just I'm going to mention a couple of other things that could be beneficial. One item that I'm going to go ahead and mention, if there's maybe a menu item that you are working on. So I know on our first call you mentioned, well, we want to have a jobs board, but we might not necessarily want it to be viewable by your members or the public today. That's something that you can select within that menu item, and there's an option to hide from the search engines. You can actually hide this. It's just kind of sitting on the back end. This is also probably useful if you guys are making edits and you don't want something, a page to be viewable quite yet because you're still adding more verbiage or making some additional edits. Selecting hide from search engine will prevent that from being viewable or prevent that from being a part of your existing menu structure. When you're viewing your menu, there's going to be, if something is not viewable like that, there's going to be this additional kind of like eye with a can't see through through the middle of it. And this is what's letting you know that these are not viewable within your menu structure. Something else that I think is going to be really helpful for you guys as you continue to work through is our embed code page. I'm going to go ahead and copy this external link and just paste in our browser. I'm doing this just to show you these different code. This is like a cheat sheet for any of the code items that you may want to add within your website. This is where you can find all of those different resources to add any of those different items. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things I look for.
Just a couple other items that I just was excited about. We do have kind of like if somebody cannot reach a specific page, they get this error message, oops, can't see or can't seem to find this page. You guys do have the ability to customize this. I love that. So you guys can add whatever verbiage you want on here. And then there was a couple more things I wanted to review. We do have a site map that's available to your members if you wanted to use. And we also have a web link wide template. So Betsy, you may have to correct me on this, but this essentially allows you to update the template for all of your internal pages. So whatever you're putting on this page will update those pages in addition to, so you wouldn't have to make necessarily the same edits to every single page. Does that sound accurate to you, Betsy?
Kind of. This is the page that controls the design for those component pages that are pulling dynamic content from WebLink Connect. So like your directory, your calendar, your coupons page, etc. This is the page that WebLink uses to design those pages. So as you rearrange your navigation on this page, as you may change the header image on this page, you're going to want to select a header image that's going to be appropriate for all of those WebLink dynamic component pages, as this design is going to be shared across all of your components. And Adrian will walk you through the process of making changes here, because as you make a change to this page, it's actually a two-step process to pull it through to your component pages, and Adrian's about to walk you through that. But I just always like to point out that you do have control over the header area and image and such on your component pages to make it, use an image that's thematic with the rest of the site and everything like that. But it is a two-step process. You update it here and click publish, and there's a second step after that, which Adrian's about to show you.
Yes, that was a perfect segue. So if I wanted to edit this,
I'm going to go ahead and sneak out. I have another customer call. If anything comes up that isn't something that we've had a chance to cover yet, Adrian, just make a detailed note, and I'll be happy to help you follow up, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining our call.
Yeah, of course. Have a great day, everyone. It was nice speaking with you.
Thanks, Betsy. Bye.
Wonderful. Awesome. So what she was mentioning, guys, is if I were to edit this background of this page, so maybe I would want to replace that coffee cup. I'm going to go to that image library that we already have built into the system for you, and I'm going to select our yoga girl. One other thing that I wanted to go ahead and point out is we can move this image. So if we're not quite happy with what we're seeing, the part of the image we're seeing, we can change that. I'm going to go ahead and select the Save button in the top right-hand corner, which is going to save these changes. Now, I can also publish these changes, but by publishing these changes, I'm not actually going to be able to see them yet. There's one additional step that Betsy mentioned that I'll go ahead and take you guys to now. Going back to our Pages tab, at the very bottom of the outline of our menu structure that we have the very last item down here that says Clear Template Cache. Basically what's happening is if we were to try to view any of these pages right now, the website or our browser is recognizing the previous image. So we need to clear the template cache in order to see the new image. All I would need to do is choose or highlight my external link, open a new window, and paste that new link in. At that time, I'll be able to see any of the changes that we've made within that area. Did that process make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. And then I know from our previous call, a couple of other items that we discussed were a big thing was SEO. I've actually been talking with Chris Burgeon, who I know you guys mentioned on our last call, seeing if you could rack his brain. Him and I have been talking about setting up some time with you guys. But when I was working in those different items, for example, when I was looking at your web link wise, so when I was looking at this item that Betsy had just described to you guys, it's going to be filtering into any of those database pages. There are some SEO settings. You'll see this kind of throughout the site. This will allow you to enhance the SEO search for your website. I know that's a big kind of item for you all, so I went ahead and I wanted to go ahead and show you guys where this was located. And Chris mentioned that there is some additional, or like a couple of additional resources for best practices I could send to you all, so I'll make sure I get that to you guys in my follow-up email after our call today. Okay. All right.
This website that you're working on is the Naugatuck Chamber one?
Exactly. It is.
So we have to, right now I have to update all of them separately. That's still going to be the case.
That will still be the case.
Okay. And then I didn't get the email with the username and password. I looked in my junk. I didn't see it.
Okay, I'm glad that you let me know. So I'll try to set up the other two, but I'll also just go ahead and send them, I'll type them out in a manual email to you guys. One other thing that Betsy mentioned to me, and it's different for me, it may be something you guys are used to. I know you guys have a couple of members on your staff that are going to be potentially working on these different sites. Betsy had mentioned that you guys would be sharing a login and working on kind of underneath that single login. That wouldn't create, or it will not create, any issues if you guys all wanted to be logged in at the same time, working on separate pages, or those, each kind of tackling one site. That won't hurt anything. The only thing that causes a little bit of confusion in the system is if you guys were trying to work on the same page at the same time. At that point in time, the system kind of like kicks you out, and it's like, nope, can't do that, because it doesn't want you to override changes somebody else may be making. Otherwise, though, that singular username and password that I'll be sending to you guys will be great for all of you, everybody that will be working on the websites, to use. Yeah. I've really given you guys an overview. I mean, I've definitely pointed out the differences about the site. You guys are so familiar with using the editor that we have in here. I have been blown away at not only how intuitive it is, but also just how fun it is. I mentioned earlier, but are there any specific questions I can answer for you all?
You said that we can embed the Facebook pixel on your email.
Absolutely. So, and I can double check with, I'll double check with Betsy on the exact way to do that. But as long as you have the code for the Facebook, would you have a code for that you could embed, or would you need us to get the code for you?
I mean, I think it's something I can can go on the Facebook and do. I've just never done it before. So Facebook has a lot of like how-to articles. I'm sure I could figure it out. I just have never done it before. So, but
yeah, let me.
I would have to send to you. That's all it is.
Exactly. In fact, you don't even have to send it to me. There's, if I'm under the Build tab, there's actually an embed code item that we can add. So any of these items are pieces that we can add to our to your website, whether it's on the home page or any of those internal pages. Grabbing that embed code, and I can drag it. Of course, we can change where this is located, how it's sized. I believe all I would need to do at this point is click within that blue outline, select Edit Custom HTML, and you should be able to paste that HTML in this area.
And it will look
and that
like
should
nothing.
add it. So it'll look like nothing. That's a great question. Within the editor, it looks like nothing. So similarly to get our latest news, right? This item is an embed code. We just went ahead and embedded the code for you. So same thing, I can click in here, edit the custom HTML. There's already something in this area. And while it looks blank in the editor, if I navigate to the front end, it's actually pulling in that custom HTML code here.
Wait, what would a Facebook, what would it look like? Just nothing though, the Facebook pixel?
I think it would probably, let me see. I think she sent me an example last time.
Nothing. Yeah, I don't really think it looks like anything. It's just supposed to track like how people, like if people go and click on something and then it takes you to their website, it's just supposed to be a way to track them so that you can then advertise them via Facebook.
Right, exactly.
So does it matter where we put the pixel? It can be put anywhere?
It can be put anywhere.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
We really wanted to get technical. Yeah, Facebook Help Center has like articles from help. Yeah. Okay.
You found something on that on grabbing the code for the Facebook pixel? Okay, awesome. I was actually just about to Google that for you, but perfect.
So we're starting with Naugatuck, and then you're going to send us the other two?
Yeah, all 3 sites are ready for you guys to be working in. I just need to go ahead and send you the rest of the credentials. So like I said, I'll definitely do that before I head out today so you guys can go ahead and get started. I'm wondering if... Go ahead.
We have to change our subdomain, and that's in the other thing. Do we have to make one for each site, or just make one for each site, right?
I want to say you've already provided that to me. Let me take a look. Maybe not.
I gave you the Google Analytics code. I don't think we changed our subdomain yet.
We should have whatever you were using previously, but I might have to go back to Betsy and just double check on that. Let me look here. Let me double check. She sounded like I had everything I needed.
Okay.
Some of these items, if you guys didn't necessarily provide it to me, sometimes I can look it up for you. So let me double check with her. I'll write you guys an email today if that's something that I'm still missing.
Okay.
I don't think it is.
On this timeline, we're basically up to enter website content.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I think that I got you guys everything from our previous call that I owed you questions on, and any documents that I owed you as well. Is there anything that I can give you guys that will kind of assist you along, or are you feeling comfortable with using the editor?
No, I think we're good with that. Yeah.
Okay.
So all our content is due on, really, it says 9/14, but that's our go live date, so.
Right. So really it would be 9/13.
Not really that day.
There was,
When do you think it really is? Like, when should we do pretty much all that?
Say that again. When should we do what?
When do you think the web content should be pretty much done? I mean, I know we're always going to be changing it, but to go live, that we feel comfortable with our web content, when do you think we should have that done?
Definitely 9/13 would be the latest, if at all possible. I mean, that's definitely the latest that it would need to be. And according to our timeline, I think that, I mean, that still gives you guys over a month to add all of that in. Is that feeling like comfortable for you guys?
Well, the complete website review and submit checklist is 8/28. So is that?
So after we go through that checklist, you guys can still be working on the site. So kind of like what you mentioned a moment ago, that's never going to be a cutoff date. You'll always be kind of editing and making those changes. But when we're really ready to go live with this site, it could be up until the day before we're ready to go live with it. You don't necessarily have to have all of the content in place for us to review that checklist together. But if I was you, I would want to have it close, obviously just like working in it as much as possible, so if you have any questions, we can review them together. But you guys have been working in the system previously, so I don't think that's going to be, I don't think it's going to be an issue for you all. I'll double check with Betsy and just make sure that that's in line with what she would tell you as well. But from what I understand, I think that's going to be absolutely, I think 9/13, being the absolute latest, so that we can go live by the 14th.
Okay.
All right. So let me get you my follow-up email. As I mentioned, looking for, I have some articles on SEO best practices. I'm going to continue my conversation with Chris Spurgeon, just to see if, continue to see if we can get that call set up with him. And then the only other item that I think I'll need to update for you all is your calendar. Instead of it bringing in all events, just bringing in the chamber events only. And then I'll be sending you the recording of this call. Do you guys want to go ahead and set up a touch base call for next week or maybe week after, just to make sure if there are any questions you have that we have time to review those?
Sure.
Or we can play it by ear, whatever feels best for you guys. Okay, I'll go ahead and look at my calendar. If we can get something down, and if you don't necessarily need it, then that's something that we could reschedule if we needed to. Next Thursday, I have some time available I could do 10 Eastern or 2 Eastern time.
You're talking the 16th?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we do the week after? Because I think a lot of us are going to be away, and we're not really going to be able to do a lot of work in this website.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So the following week, pretty much any day and any time that works best for you guys, I can make work.
Okay, well, Julie and I are here that whole week. Like, how's the 23rd? So what's that Thursday?
I just have something at lunchtime. That's it.
Okay. So is 2 o'clock good?
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Do you want to make it 3? Can you make it 3 on the 23rd?
Absolutely, that will work. Okay, I've got us down at 3 o'clock on the 23rd. And then, of course, I'll also be sending those login credentials so you guys can access the backend and get started and working. If you have any questions before that call, please don't hesitate to let me know, and I'll be happy to jump on another call with you all or just answer any questions that come through via email. But if there's anything else you need, just let me know, and I appreciate you guys just being patient with me, and I appreciate your time so much today.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your week. Talk to you soon. Bye.